Hello, vinyl community. This is Mike with TCAT's Deep Vinyl Tracks. Wanted to come on and do a quick response to a thread that was put up by Sam St. John. I'll leave you a link to his channel down below in the comments. But he had this idea, um, since Thanksgiving's around the corner for the U.S., that is. We up here in Canada had our Thanksgiving back in October. But for the US, Thanksgiving is coming up, and he wanted us to show some albums that we have that have been kind of considered turkeys for different bands. Look at different things like records that the record company expected to sell better than what they did, and they turned out not doing that, or the band itself made a big misstep and put out a bad album. So there's a lot of those out there that I could have used, but I thought what I would do is try to keep it down to about six. So the first one I'm going to show is from a favorite band of mine, Blue Oyster Cult. Uh, they were riding a big wave, doing quite well as far as sales go. They had released Agents of Fortune, which kind of blew blew them blew the doors wide open for them. And then they released the album Spectres. Spectres had the hit Godzilla on it, while Agents of Fortune had Don't Fear the Reaper on it. Both great albums. The record company got in there a little bit and wanted to kind of make their music a little more popularized, a little more polished. They thought it would uh, make sales go up, but that kind of backfired on with their next album, which is called Mirrors. Mirrors is not like it's a terrible album. In fact, there's some great songs on this album, but a lot of people don't consider it one of their best. Probably one of the last ones they would pick up if they were Blue Oyster Cult fans. Um, but still, you're missing a lot of great songs. It's probably their first really polished record that Blue Oyster Cult put out, and I think that's what it had going against it. Um, but Great songs like Dr. Music, The Great Sun Jester, um, Moon Crazy, The Vigil. Some of my favorite songs from them on this, but there are some really kind of radio friendly ones, like the title track Mirrors. Just not the type of music people were looking for. Lonely Teardrops, not a very good version of that on here. Um, anyway, Oyster Cult's Mirrors. This next one is from a band that was doing quite well, had some big sales. People were going crazy for it in the 80s. Then all of a sudden, the band kind of split. Part of the band went over and the um, did the power station, um, which, of course, if you know the power station, we're kind of talking about Duran. The the members that didn't go do the power station decided to put out their own album called Arcadia, to try to compete with Cells, and it turned out that it didn't even come close. Arcadia So Red the Rose, the half of Duran that did not appear on the power station, they put out this album. Again, it's not a bad album. Rio had been released and, of course, was huge. And I'm not sure if this was the next attempt after that, or if there was Seven and the Ragged Tiger came out before this or not. But needless to say, their album sales were doing great, and then they split up. Power Station did great. This one kind of bombed, but it's a decent album, decent enough. So Arcadia, it's the name of the band. So Red the Rose. That's the only album they put out. Um, Another band in the 70s that had some big hits all of a sudden, and just all of a sudden became very popular was Atlanta Rhythm Section. Um, and they put out an album, had the hit So Into You on it. Big seller. The one following that was a big seller. They tried to follow up again with this one called Underdog, and it bombed. Um, Again, the record company got in there, tried to smooth out all their sounds, tried to make it more radio friendly, um, and this is what they came up with. It's definitely way too wet, radio friendly. The heart is just taken mostly right out of the music, I think. There's only one great song on here, and it's the cover of Spooky, which has a extended instrumental section. But as for the rest of this album, tanked. Um, Fans of this band consider this one of their worst records, and when a lot of people decide to start leaving, not getting interested in the band, their fans started not buying their records. I don't know. I think this album is great. It's one of my favorites by them. The band is Squeeze. The album is called Frank. And Squeeze was just riding on their pinnacle. Had some great albums they put out, had some big radio hits, and then they threw this one out there, and apparently the fans didn't know what to make of it. I don't know. I find it really good. I find it's full of variety. Great songs on here. I really don't know of any, I can't really name any songs that I don't like from this album. Slaughtered, Gutted, and Heartbroken is just one of the best Squeeze tracks ever. Takes kind of a jazzy feel. Hilarious title, I think. Peyton Place, great piano solo in that one. Love Circles, another one that I like. Dr. Jazz. Jules Holland was part of the band at this time, and that's his attempt at singing and making a song. And again, I thought it worked out really quite well. So for some reason, this album didn't do so well and is hated by a lot of the fans. I consider it one of my favorite from them, so whatever. Another band that I really like, it's one of those, for some strange reason, I feel like I have to collect everything that's been put out by this band, the Steve Miller Band. Had a lot of great sellers and a lot of duds, a lot of misses. Even I like to buy it and get the misses. Abracadabra had come out, huge seller, disappointing album in my opinion, probably the one that I liked the least out of all of them. He tried to come back a couple of times, and one of the attempts that he made with this album, Italian Xrays. People figured this was too upbeat, too kind of a dancey feel to it, if you will. Again, this is one I really like. I can't help it. I think Bongo Bongo's a very fun song. Italian X-Rays, Shangri-La, kind of very dancey sounding, and extended instrumental sections on those that make it even more that way. But I like it. I can't help it. And usually that's weird for me to like something that changes that much from, like Fly Like an Eagle or Books of Dreams. But the first side of this is definitely kind of commercial. I still like it. I can't help it. The second side is more of what you'd expect out of Steve Miller, kind of the pop bluesy sound. Anyway, I like it. I can't help it. Italian X-Rays. One that the verdict's still out about, from a huge band, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Had so many great albums, so many big hits, so many fans out there, and they went out and did a soundtrack, and people just didn't know what to make of it, because the record company wanted to market it as a regular Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers album. Unfortunately, it didn't do that. It's the soundtrack to She's the One. They did most of the music on this album. They even do a cover of one of Beck's songs. Hold on, let me see if I can figure out which one it was or remember which one it was. Asshole. And the fans just didn't know what to make of this. It's not a bad album, really, but when you compare it to other Tom Petty albums, especially from that time, Wildflowers had been released. Um, Full Moon Fever had done great. Fans just didn't know what to make of this, so it failed. Again, not a bad album. Not one that you can find very easily anymore, though. This one actually comes out of a box set, so that's why I have a copy of it, and I actually listen to it once in a while. Okay, that's it. Come on and do a response to this. Let me see what your turkeys are. Show us all the albums and give us a reason why you feel like it's a turkey album, whether it has to do with disappointing sales, disappointing sound from the band itself. There's lots of them out there, so come on. Happy Thanksgiving. Make a video. We'll talk to you later.